everybody. Today I would like to continue my little series on the question how to do restructuring in Germany. And I would like to concentrate on three topics that typically arise during the negotiations with the Works Council. Number one is a transfer company. Number two is a voluntary program. And number three is the question of a so-called name list. A quite common request from Works Council nowadays is a transfer company. A transfer company in general is a good thing because it shows a socially acceptable reduction in force. So you should think about it. The transfer company is basically an external outplacement service run by an external agency. It receives subsidies from the government. And one can say the formula is 1 month on the payroll pays for 2 months in the transfer company. Whether you have additional costs for the transfer company is mainly the question of what you add to the subsidies. So how high is the allowance, and whether you are able to set off the transfer company against the notice period. Number two, the voluntary program. A voluntary leave program means that people can leave, as the name says, voluntarily. And it's another vehicle to make a redundancy in force socially acceptable. And the Works Council can even help to meet the numbers so that termination thereafter will be obsolete. But I think there are 3 points to be aware of. You need to put in place either a tap on your shoulder program, meaning that you take the initiative to decide who's going to be asked to leave voluntarily, or at least to insert in the document the principle of double voluntariness, a very German word. It means that not only the employee would like to leave, but also the employer agrees with it. The problem with voluntary leave programs is easy. Typically those who are your high performer and those who will find a job easily on the job market will leave first. On the other hand, in order to make it efficient, the voluntary leave program needs to have a nice severance package, which means that you need to set the right severance pay as an incentive. If the leave program is attractive, the severance pay must be higher than the severance level for those who are going to be terminated afterwards. Secondly, you need to make the voluntary leave program look like a window of opportunity, which means it lasts only for a few weeks and it's always followed by a clear date where notices are handed out. Don't leave that point open that no notices will be issued thereafter. This is a necessity to make a voluntary leave program successful. Or the third point I would like to talk about is the question of social selection. What does it mean? Social selection means that you cannot decide who has to leave, but you need to make a selection between comparable employees if you do not close the site in total. So comparable employees are put in a bucket, and then the law dictates who has to go, namely those who are with the lowest seniority and those who have been with the company for the shortest time, and those who are the youngest. So LIFO kicks in, last in, first out. Be aware that you do not need to negotiate about the selection guidelines with the Works Council unless you are having a site with more than 500 employees. So social selection lies in the sole responsibility of the employer. And you should always argue like that you will take care of that responsibility after negotiations have ended. And that's where the name list kicks in. Sometimes Works Council asks for a name list, or employers think that's a good thing. A name list means that you draft your balance of interest and you have a list of names of people who have to go. But be aware of 3, I think, negative consequences. A name list is very time consuming. You will discuss every employee in detail. and that will take weeks, I can guarantee you. Second, the Works Council often is afraid of taking the responsibility and will therefore ask for a very high price in return. So it makes redundancies more costly. And thirdly, and probably that's the main point, it's not as legally safe as the law indicates, because in subsequent litigation, courts tend to review the social selection in full, which means you don't have a guarantee that the name list is the one that will be upheld by courts. So this concludes my remarks for today. I would like to see you again next time when I speak about the end of the negotiations and the implementation phase. Stay tuned. If you have any questions or comments, please contact me, and thank you for listening.